turning your pain into power. I never knew what that meant until I started to watch my mother's pain. I started to watch my mom try to figure out how to take care of 5 kids by herself. I walked in the house one day and I saw my mom bleeding from my eyes. And I looked at her and I said, Mom, why go through this? And my mama shared something with me. She says, I have no other choice because it's for my babies, it's for my kids. I took my mama's pain and turned it into my power. I learned that there's a different side of pain. On the other side of it is glory if you push through it. I tugged on my mom's dress and I said, Mom, one day, you would never have to work another day in your life. I say, Mama, one day all the pain that we're going through, God has given me the power enough to push through it. Now, Mama, I can't promise you that everything will be right, but I'm challenging anybody that's found themselves going through some pain right now. There's power in pain. Because once you feel what it feels like, when I took out this deck of cards and started doing push-ups and sit-ups until I passed out, I realized there was a point to where my body completely failed. And I took a quick break and realized I had more to give. Because my pain was so great of somebody may be out there lost without a father. Somebody may not have a mentor. But make your greatest power, your greatest ability, which is effort, 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 effort. Nobody dictates effort. Nobody. The next time you feel a level of pain, write power next to it and push through it and see what type of glory is on the other side. Turning your pain into real power. My mama inspired me to always keep her smiling. So my plan is to always let her know I understand. You appreciate it.
Live and direct, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that. To whoever made that video of the incredible Ray Lewis. This is the Los Angeles Tribune television broadcast. We have an incredible show today. I am Mo Rock alongside Natalie Forrest. And those that are wondering, no, she's not my sidekick. I'm her sidekick. So we are super pumped up and excited about today's show. We have a incredible lineup of wonderful experts. And right now it's been a challenging year, to say the least. And so we at the Los Angeles Tribune wanted to put this panel together as a community service to spend the next hour or so and really engage on this idea, Natalie, of turning pain into power and seeing opportunities in times of crisis. So whether you're an entrepreneur looking for ways to pivot in this time, whether you have had a personal struggle this year, going through all the challenges that we faced over the course of this calendar year, this is a show where we're going to do a deep dive and really turn pain into power and find ways to turn crisis into opportunity. So, Dr. Forrest, how excited are you for today's show?
Well, I can't wait because it's all about our favorite subject, really, which is leadership, right? And how to look at things from a different perspective, not to have a mindset, but to be flexible and to look at something and say, okay, I can say it's all black and bad, and I don't know why black is bad. I love black. Or we can look at the other side. So it's like, how do we look at things? And one of the most important things or aspects of that is community. And so when we from the Los Angeles Tribune ask who wants to share, who wants to serve our community, we always get amazing people to say, of course, I'll be right there. And I think that's what really matters. And that's about self-leadership, leadership of groups, and looking at saying yes to any opportunity and looking, I guess, at the bright side of life.
Absolutely. And really, you said it so eloquently and so nicely, Dr. Forrest. Thank you for that. I can't wait for the viewers at home to meet this expert lineup that we have. And again, if you're watching on Periscope, YouTube, or Facebook, feel free to comment. You might be watching this on Amazon Fire Stick after the fact, in which case, sorry, you're out of luck. You can't interact live. That's why you need to follow us online to make sure that you are part of the show, because we want this to be a new wave, a new form of media. The old school form of media is dead, gone, never to return again. Modern media is interactive. Los Angeles Tribune, always on the cutting edge, bringing you the best in the business. Now, let's go ahead and see this expert panel. Look at these incredible people that we see. Wow. Unbelievable. Welcome, guys, to the Los Angeles Tribune show. So, Natalie, I mean, as I see these faces, Everyone here is a leader in their own right. But what can you say about just a few of them for the people watching at home about how they can spend the next hour or so doing a deep dive with this incredible, talented group that we have?
Well, I think you sort of nailed it earlier when you said, we've all experienced some kind of pain. That can be personal pain. It can be pain of a startup. It can be pain of trying to figure out the next venture. It can be health crisis. All of those things are happening. And when they happen in especially challenging times like right now, it's even harder to figure out how to make it through. And every single person that's here has had in their lives, not necessarily just this last year, but hardships or challenges that they had to overcome. And in that, every single one of these people here is an expert and has somehow figured out a new way forward. Again, whether it's personal, whether it's a health crisis, whether it's a midlife crisis, whether it's a new business. So every single one of these amazing people can contribute. And I encourage everybody, this is just what I always look for. You may not know why you're stopping by right now, but you will get a nugget from one of these people, or maybe even two or three. They're all very, very interactive, and they will all share something that you may not expect.
I love it. And that's absolutely true. You definitely don't want to miss this powerful show. And again, if you're watching this online, feel free to interact. This is an opportunity for you to actually interact with the show. You are part of the show. That's modern day 2020 media. So with that being said, I'd like all of the experts to spend about 30 seconds and give a brief introduction about who they are, what they're up to in a real brief way, just to bring some of the folks at home up to speed. I'd like to start with Carlton. Go ahead, Carlton.
Hello, I'm Carlton Hoskins. I am the founder of I Do Systems and a co-creator of a software called Pillar 5. I found ourselves in the midst of this crisis, going through a challenge inside of ourselves as we moved from one market to the other to better understand the pains that small businesses were going through. And so as we grow through this process, I hope that everyone takes away something, because success is subjective. So there's pains we will face. So we must face those pains.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Carlton. Looking forward to really doing a deep dive with you. Joe Ingram.
Hi. I want to know why Natalie looked at me when she said midlife crisis. That's the first thing I want to address.
You got me.
So Joe Ingram, I have a sales training company where I help people, especially now, with converting that virtual prospect into an actual sale. And since everybody has gone virtual and there isn't as much foot traffic anymore, it's really important. So I've had a lot of my clients go through the pain of growing and helping them to get through that point. But that's what I'm here. I'm excited to help people get through this time.
Thank you so much, Joe. Michelle Wilson. Okay, looks like we have a quick hiccup there. So let's go to Ashkan Tabibnia first, and then we'll return back to Michelle. Ashkan.
Absolutely. I'm a founder of Tabibnia Group. We showcase experts at a very high level in Beverly Hills, over 1,200. We have Axel for sure, Michelle from there, and also I'm a co-founder with Vertical Velocity with Michelle. And tonight we're going to share why we turn it into blessing. So we're going to share secrets that when you have pain, actually, it's a wake-up call. You have to really be up with us. This panel tonight going to change your life. It's not just going to be nuggets. We're going to share certain information that even you go to events, 3 days, you're not going to get it. Especially with Axel, these nuggets, make sure you get a notebook, write that stuff down. Back to more.
Well, thank you for that, Ashkan. And speaking of Axel, Axel Tillman, go ahead and give us what your perspective is and a little bit about you.
Yes. So, as you said, my name is Axel Tillman. I have to sympathize with Natalie. I'm an immigrant from Germany too. So, and my focus is actually entrepreneurship. I can't even imagine on anything else. And I help startup companies to understand what their real going to market strategy is, what their value is. And I have to tell you that this time in which we are in right now emphasizes the mistakes you have made. So this is an opportunity. As this old saying goes, no pain, no gain. I have learned more from my mistakes in my life than I ever learned from my successes.
Absolutely. And sometimes in the simplest axioms, Axel, is the most profound truth. No pain, no gain on its surface sounds so simple. You see it here, you see it there, you see it on a t-shirt. But when you really think about what that means, you realize there's so much wisdom. There's so much power in that simple statement. And of course, we save the best for last. Miss Furley, go ahead and let people know a little about what you're up to and really where you're at right now.
This girl is on fire. Well, I'm Pearlie Almonte. I am a resilience and confidence coach. Basically, I help people make their mess their message. I've been through a lot of tsunamis in my life, and I basically help people live resilient and confident lives despite the many adversities that we've been through. Right now, my focus is financial resilience as we go through this pandemic.
Wow. So important. So important. I love it.
Very
I
powerful.
love it.
Thank you for that. And I love the vocals, Furley. Wow. That was awesome. So again, I know I spoke a little too soon when I said best for last. We're going to check in with Michelle and see if she does have that audio fixed. If not, she'll be with us in a couple minutes. Michelle, are you there? Alrighty, we'll return back with Michelle. Our producer is going to work with her to get that issue fixed. But I want to go ahead and start off. So Natalie, what do you think a good question would be? We have these incredible, powerful people here. I want to give the floor to you to go ahead and get the ball rolling, and then we'll dive into nice free format.
Well, I think since we're looking at, pain and gain, let's just look at the year that we're currently still in. And we're not talking, politics. I love this. I hate this. But in these times, I'm sure you've all had some challenges. Would you be willing to share one of the challenges that came on, especially because of the current health situation, regardless of what side you're on? Joe already mentioned that a lot has gone virtual, the challenges with that. Carlton mentioned something's going on. Furley mentioned, of course, the financial aspect. So would you all be willing to share one instance that was a real challenge for you because of the current situation and how you overcame it? And when one or two of you are speaking, please remember, this is a panel. So if you just jump in, letting the other finish, not like interrupting 172 times, but if you just let each other finish, that would be great. But then let's have it open in a conversation. Who wants to start us out?
I go.
Okay.
All right.
Pearlie?
Well, I am actually a motivational speaker, and I do trainings also on different companies on image confidence and public speaking. However, all of the gigs have dried up during pandemic, and I actually felt so bad because I was supposed to host and speak at the United Nations Association, and that also went away. So how do I make money during this time? Many people who are in entertainment or the beauty industry, for instance, people in gyms, for instance, they all lost their gigs, right? And so basically now I realize that we have to find a way to make money. And so I noticed that from the corporate world, basically we move into entrepreneurship, and unless your mind is really open into going from an employee mentality to entrepreneurship, it is a real big struggle for a lot of people. However, they know that the unemployment will dry up some way, somehow. And so they're forced to make choices in life right now.
So if I hear you right, what you're saying is you were able to figure out how to keep making money. You just switched the audience in a sense, right?
Yeah, actually, so I went completely virtual. And actually, one of the most beautiful things that actually happened to me is that because I opened myself to entrepreneurship, so I am now in the life insurance aspect of my business. And now I help people with financial resilience so they can access money before they die, like when they're alive. So that becomes a lot more powerful for me. And business have increased 45% because I opened my mind to entrepreneurship. If I resisted it, you know what they say, if you resist, the problem persists. And so if we just keep an open mind that there's got to be a solution. And so because one of the favorite quotes that I love of Maya Angelou, she said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. I did a lot of attitude adjustments.
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to throw the ball over really, really quickly to Carlton, because you mentioned that you opened your mind to entrepreneurship. And I know that Carlton has a thought or that when it comes to entrepreneurship. Would you want to chime in real quick?
Absolutely. And I'd like to first say one of the challenges that I have faced this year, and that is in building and developing our company, which we've been working on for over 4.5 years, has been challenging, right? It's a challenge in developing a business. And most people walk into business, as Furley was saying, not realizing the challenges that they're going to face. You know, they think it's register a corporation, get an EIN, open a bank, and everyone's going to buy whatever I have. And it's not that simple, right? There's development processes. But over in our challenge, we were building our team, amassing our team to move into social media more due to the pandemic, because you can't go out to networks, and chambers of commerces aren't having events, and the BBBs are closed. And so things have to change, right? So we ran into that challenge right at the middle of our pre-launch, and COVID actually fell in the middle of the pre-launch. So it caused us to shift our mind. But as they said at the very beginning, as everyone was speaking, that if you're unable to shift in the market, then obviously you will not be able to gain traction. Right. So,
so the consistent theme, Carlton and Furley, has been pivoting. And really, I think a man that has really pivoted quite well this year is Joe. Joe's involved in a handful of different industries, especially on the sales training side. I'd love to hear his take on this.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mo. So to me, what I found was I myself, who love taking people from virtual prospects into deals, right, and teaching people that, I had to myself go virtual to teach these people this. And then, so I don't use the word pivot, because all I see is that Friends episode with the couch, right? And that's the only thing that comes to my head every time I hear that. So to me, what happens, I say, I just added verticals. Okay, so I went down and said, what do I have to do as a company? If my main industry is focused on people walking in the door and we can't walk in the door, how do we transition other things? And I will tell you that I've added like dentist office, I've added the chiropractor offices, I've added the software companies, video gaming platforms, right? I've added all of these different people because they had the same issue. But before COVID hit, I didn't have the time frame based on my current client database, which was all automotive related. Right. So it went from an 80% automotive down to maybe 50%. But the thing that, like when Furley was saying, mindset wise, I was open to what was coming next. And then putting yourself out there and making it known who you are and what you do has become more paramount now, because guess what? The people that are potential customers of mine are all online because you have no choice. Right?
That's
and
right.
So you get on social media, spend some time sharing with people what you do, right? I added, as Mo knows, he joins me several times, but I added a free sales training that I do weekly, right? Sponsored by the Los Angeles Tribune, because I'm the business columnist. But I will put out a free training every week, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, and I put it on Zoom, and then I simulcast it to Facebook, and then we upload it so that the Tribune has it as well. But again, the answer was what? How do I give back? So right now, if you're sitting at home or you're sitting there and going, I don't know what to do, the answer is go make someone else's life better today, and watch how karma comes back to you.
Incredible.
Right.
And I highly recommend those watching this to start attending Joe's weekly call, and we'll share a link after the fact. Before we go to Axel Tillman, I do want to bring our next expert who's going to join us over the course of the next hour, Dr. Bill Janishek. Welcome, Dr. Bill. Dr. Bill is not only well-versed in the medical industry, he's also a business owner in Southern California, and he's also very active in the neurolinguistic programming space, which, of course, I have a background in as well. Dr. Bill, welcome to the panel. We'll circle back to you in a moment, Dr. Bill. I do want to take this conversation to Axel Tillman, because Axel Tillman, being a investor in many different startups, is always looking through people that are asking him to invest in his companies. What have you been seeing in the startup space, Axel, as far as the the verticals, as Joe likes to say?
So the verticals that do well are right now, for example, in the medical field, where remote access becomes very important, whether it's physical training or remote monitoring for pulmonary heart disease exercises. Those have to continue, and those companies have understood how to pivot into the right markets. And this is very good to see. And what Joe said, I extend actually now my times on the regular pitch global sessions. I take actually some of the companies and give them an extra hour or two, which normally is maybe 10 minutes, now an hour or two to actually criticize their pitch deck, trying to make it better, to make it stick better also for the investor community. And I really enjoy this quite a bit. And myself, I have not pivoted, but I have started to open up and concentrate myself on my project called World Summit. And World Summit will be a major venture capital fund with a tailorized accelerator program associated to it. So this time gave me the time that I didn't actually have before. I was so busy. Now I have the time to actually concentrate on this. And that was a very fun, wonderful thing. And then I met so many new friends because I moved in March down to LA. I fulfilled a lifelong dream, and I pulled through on March 22nd. Have to say, I was blackmailed by the moving company. They came into my house and said, "Oh, by the way, we are leaving here again unless you sign here on the dotted line, and it's not $5,000, it's $7,500 now."
I just want to point out,
right?
I trained the moving company. Yes. So,
Okay, I come and collect the money from you.
yeah.
So,
Incredible. Thank you, Axel. And for those watching, we are going to turn this conversation into not only the business side of things, but we're also going to talk about the psychology and the strategy as we move along this conversation. But before we go into that direction, I want to check in with Ashkan, who, of course, has a huge international company called the Tabibnia Group. Tabibnia Holdings are involved in several different industries, not only in the United States, as well as Dubai and other parts of the world. Tabibnia Group, of course, is something that I've had the pleasure of doing business with as well, in full disclosure. But Ashkan, what have you seen from an international perspective, doing business in the Middle East, doing business in the United States? What have you seen globally to help expand the horizons of the people watching at home?
You know, there's a paradigm shift as we are going through. They call it the new normal. For the people who have businesses that is tangible, as we know, in California, we just lost around 35,000 restaurants.
Wow.
So sometimes in life is not what we want to do. Sometimes the pain is understanding what happened. You know, whether my business is tangible or non-tangible, what's going on in the world. Instead of taking reactive approach, we have to take proactive approach, like being on tonight with all the experts tonight, and understanding for the past 10 years, I was successful in making so much money, and now I cannot pay my rent because I have a tangible good, you know, that means in person, customers are not showing up, right? Or I just got into virtual business. Now is the new normal is everybody's trying to go online, creating services, consultation. Now, how do we do that? Sometimes in life is better if we have a little bit of savings and we can kind of take 3 months off. Not because we're in COVID. I did that. I used to do real estate when I joined City Gala with Axel Tillman. And I know that with real estate, when people are going to be able to pay rent and are protected by 2022, whether it's commercial, residential, you know, I better start something else. So that's why we started Tabibnia Group 4 months ago as a consulting. But at the same time, I am going through education, through understanding what is going on. You know, also calculating, you know, the elections for sure, right? Because we have two extremes. Sometimes it's just better not to take action. Use the solutions that are available through state and federal government in order to protect yourself, whether as a residential or as a business. And if you don't know what they are, Google SBA loans that is available to you. The best thing is the proactive approach to learn about those solutions. And after you have kind of stabilized your business, or you have an idea where you want to go next, then you can start understanding, okay, now with a new norm, how do I talk to Carlton and Mrs. Almonte here with financial resistance and all these other experts? Because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to get lost.
I love that.
Be clear.
And
you know what? I'm going to stop my business, or maybe maybe it's just good to give up. Just, you know what? I give up. And I want to start something new. That psychology that Mo is going to bring us in a moment, it's extremely detrimental to the future of your business, because being an entrepreneur that most of us are, it's not just because what we did and what we're doing today. How we're going to survive with a new norm. And the new norm, by the way, is not what they're talking about. When we have the election comes after, real estate the next 2 years, I've been in it. I know what's going to happen. So we have to kind of situate ourselves with the best experts, advice, write the nuggets, have available all the solutions to us, because we are doing business in this state or federal, and then have solutions to expand or go vertical with our business. So that's with Tribune Group. We have all those experts that can help you with these very, very, I want to call it opportune time, because we take pain and we take it into pleasure. It is very painful. And also, we have to be ready for what's coming, because if you are ready and kind of know where we are, like LA Tribune, they took a stand. Look at all this media, BS. They just publish things because they want to. It's not true. They are behind the truth. They are unbiased. They took a stand, and that's why people are showing up. Well, we like to be like LA Tribune. Back to you.
Thank you so much. And I think that it's an appropriate segue to allow the next speaker to really take us to the direction that we want this conversation to head in, because so many people watching at home may not be business owners. I know almost everyone on this panel owns their own business. So the challenges that we as business owners face are very different than somebody who got laid off or somebody who's just struggling to make ends meet. But one way that we can all be unified is in the psychology and the strategy. So instead of talking about the marketing, I want to take this to the psychology and the strategy. I know Dr. Bill Janishak has done countless different live events at his clinic alongside Joe, talking about the psychology and strategy of success, specifically in dealing with unresolved emotional issues, which Dr. Bill and Joe have helped countless people do. But Dr. Bill, I wanted to hear your take on this component of the psychology and the strategy during these turbulent times, and really turning that and harnessing that into power.
Yeah, and like you said, me and Joe, when we get together and we've done our unpacking, one is to get rid of the negative emotions that people experience. So clinically, in my office, I'm all about stress. Stress is physical, chemical, and emotional. And there's always components of each one, no matter whether you're going through business stress, physical health issues, a punch in the face, or a pandemic. But it always gets back to circle your horses around your mindset first, because it's always your thinking that's going to create the environment you're in. Now, obviously, we can't stop Newsom from closing down our state, but what does that mean? And coming back and being able to reframe something to a way that it'll give you something to work with. I'm not a big advocate of staying comfortable, because really nothing in life, when you're going forward and going towards the next level, is ever comfortable. And you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, taking challenges out where you're at, so that you can go to the next level. And you have to give that challenge and that pain and that, just being uncomfortable a different meaning. Because if you mean that if in your head you're saying, this sucks, this is a bad situation, rather than I'm growing. This is what it's like to get to my next level. In order to get to the outcome that you decided you wanted in a period of power, when you sat down and you said, okay, this is my goal. I'm going over there. If you think about every little step that you may take along the way, it's daunting. But if you think and you keep your eye on the outcome and you go, what do I have to do to get there? And what does it mean every time I slip on a rock or I get off course a little? All it means is that you're a little off course or you slipped on the rock. Get your butt back up there, get on the horse, and surround yourself with a team of people that you're going to go there with. And that's why, what you've mentioned mine and Joe's class, we work great together because we're supportive. We know our mindset. We know what's going on there. And we also know, like, hey, this is not the you that you said you were going to do. Get on top of things and pull up your pants, go in the right direction, and a little slap on the head as you're getting a little kiss on the cheek as well.
Not the velvet sledgehammer.
Yeah. I want to jump in real quick too with these two guys because when it comes to the psychology and where we are today, so there was a mention of the new normal, there was a mention of pivoting, and all of those are great terms. I think what Dr. Bill just said reminded me of the aspect of social conditioning, right? Because even if you use a term like pivoting or you're talking about the new norm, you're already conditioning it in a certain way. What Dr. Bill just said was, when you slip, just get back up. So part of the question seems to be, what happens from the time that we were children where we slip and we just stand back up to now where we're afraid of standing back up, where our mind is often so closed to where we are right now? Is there really a new norm? Is it really all about pivoting, or is it really about just being open-minded from day one until whenever? Because we never really know what's coming next, do we?
No, that's a good thing. Whenever something like this happens, I call it an adventure. An adventure is never negative or positive. It just is. And you go around the corner that you don't know what's there.
Mm-hmm.
And, it could be a saber-toothed tiger. It could be a Christmas puppy. You don't know till you get there.
Right.
And if you never go around the corner, you're just stuck.
Right. And a lot of people are afraid of going around that corner, right? A lot of people are afraid.
Yeah. Well, again, a lot of our inputs are coming in saying it's all going to be negative. It depends where you look. I will tell you that based on, if I listen to the news, right, that's not Los Angeles Tribune, right? But if I listen to the news, then the spin is going to tell me be fearful and stay in my house and the world is bad outside. But I can go outside and talk to my neighbors and we don't have the fear. We don't have that. But when I look at it and say we are in a social conditioning mindset, right? It's easier to initiate control after repeated trauma, okay, in the psychological world. So at the same point, we're getting hit continuously with it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And then all of a sudden we start buying in it's bad because that's the only input we're getting. And what I like about like this panel, the answer is, how do you shift? Well, the first thing to do is change the people you're associating with, right? Yes. Find people like Mike Phillips on the screen right there. Okay. But again, find people that are speaking that there's positive things happening, right? Find out other people's viewpoint that, again, right? I don't have to sit back with you guys and say, I have to talk to just Dr. Bill, right? Carlton and I fell in love the first time we talked to each other. Right. It was a bromance. It was a bromance. And it was okay. Yeah. Right. But the answer is what? Is because positivity will attract positivity.
Absolutely.
And so when somebody starts talking positively, then all of a sudden you go, hey, for one, that's completely different than what I'm experiencing now. Right, on a daily basis. So I want to be able to surround myself with more people. So this is either the age of opportunity or it's the age of destruction. And it's going to depend on your mindset and what you're looking at and who you're surrounding yourself with. And
So,
so
what
fix
would you
yourself.
recommend? Where do people find those positive people? I mean, you mentioned the news, but
Yeah,
let's get real. So yeah, I know the Tribune. I mean, that's why I love you guys.
Right
But
here, right
I mean,
here.
where else do you go? Where else do you go? Like if you go outside and you try to talk to your neighbor, and that neighbor is closed-minded, right? I mean,
Let's
where do
just
you
call
find
her
people?
Karen.
Yeah.
Let's just call her Karen as just a random name we're going to pick. Okay. So Karen's going to run around and scream at me about my mask while I'm on a Zoom call. We'll just say that. But again, the answer is, are you putting yourself in a position to even find those people? Guess what? Go scroll through your Facebook feed and only stop on the one that has a positive quote.
Yeah.
Right?
Or cat videos.
Don't stop. Yeah, or cat videos.
Yeah.
Right. But don't go turn around. I'll tell you right now. Go to Frank Ingram on Facebook, and my brother posts funny stuff all day long. Right? It's borderline demented, but right, he's really funny, and you're gonna laugh the whole time you go through his news feed. Yeah.
Did he generate that wonderful picture where the politicians are standing around drinking a sip, and then we actually told them to stay in these two stupid spots and
Right.
followed in line?
We got the whole world to believe that if you stand on a little circle in the supermarket, you're saving lives. Right? That's it. And it's like, come on, let's go.
This was a
So
very
you
good
know where else you will look at that stuff is getting more esoteric and more into mindset stuff. It's your energy. So you will attract the people to you by going up and starting your day with your intentions, and you have that quantum thinking where you're going, okay, I'm grateful that I'm here. And you go through your gratitude, and you will emanate that feeling that you'll attract those people that are like-minded, and you'll repel Karen. And
Dr. Bill,
Why are you so hooked on Karen?
Dr. Bill, I agree with that. I noticed that when I'm out, whether I'm going to the grocery store or to go to the, DIY store, do-it-yourself store, Home Depot, whatever, your eyes can smile, and even though you have a mask on, people know when you're smiling. They can see it. They can feel it, right? And so that's something that you don't pay attention to, but if you go out and you still smile, right? Even with the mask on, you still smile. It's just the one thing that we always learned in kindergarten. If you smile, you make everyone else around you smile, right? So you just always smile. And that's the simplest way. And when you reach for people who can bring positive energy to you, first of all, as entrepreneurs, the one thing that we covet more than anything is relationships. And so all of the individuals that we know, all of the thousands of people we have on Facebook and then LinkedIn and on Instagram, how many are we reaching out to and talking to them, sharing positive with them? None, right? I hope they saw my post and they liked it and they commented. Let me go on to the next. And it's like we're trying to build more relationships when we can just covet the relationships that we already have and get the value there, develop that, nurture that, and allow it to grow, whether it's an entrepreneurship or whether it's your family, whatever that is, nurture that. And that's the mindset Dr. Bill also mentions. Circle your horse around this wagon right here. Just focus right here for a minute and get your mindset, get your peers right, and then reach out. Because you don't want to reach out with a negative connotation. You want to reach out with passion and love and good commitment, right? And
so are you saying that likes don't equal love?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you broke his heart.
What?
Burst your bubble.
What?
Dude.
But can I throw it to Pearly for a second?
Yeah. Said, like, you attract who you are, not what you want. So first, be the person you want to attract. Because if you're spewing out like negative energy and you have a sourpuss face all the time, it's not sexy at all. It's not attractive. And chances are, when you either on social media or in just like what you were saying, like even if you're going to the grocery and yes, you smile, and also you can see from your body posture, your body language is inviting. And people would feel that. And if other people are repulsed by your beautiful, vibrant energy, then they're not the right peeps for you.
Absolutely.
So everything will just be like magnetic. So thank you for that.
I know, but here's a question. And everybody who knows me knows I usually don't say but, I usually say and. Today I'm going to be the butt person. No pun intended, Joe. Okay. So I want to go to, we all agree. And Dr. Bill, I'm going to throw you something, because our posture, of course, is also a reflection. And we all know this is a reflection of how we feel, right? And so I'm thinking Furley, I'm thinking Dr. Bill right now. But I noticed that a lot of people, they sit like this. So if somebody has just experienced personal hardship, financial hardship, lost their job, their family lost their job, it's really easy for all of us to sit here and say, oh, just smile through it.
They cannot do that.
I know it's kind of hard, right? So where do they get that from? Because we can see it, right? I mean, when we go to the grocery store and somebody stands there like that, I'm like, I'm trying to smile behind the mask or without whatever, I mean, I'm trying to give them positive energy. But when you're in the hole, you're in the hole. And there are lots of people right now that are in the hole. How do we get them out? Or what is your advice? Because I think all of us have been there at some point. So aside from being an entrepreneur, being successful now or half successful, whatever we are, how do you do that? Because it's so easy to say, let's just smile and be positive.
So that goes back to the thing that a lot of times we know what to do. I know when I'm feeling crappy that if I go out running or I get in a real good training session where I'm sweating and it's just primal and it's just like, I know for a fact, emotionally, energetic, physically and physiologically, it's going to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that moment when I'm sitting on the couch and I just don't freaking want to. I want to just sit here because I'm pissed and I'm sad and I'm doing like that. And what I personally do, and we teach this in the class, is that, there's two emotions that will get you to move. And it's fear or anger. And if I know, I'll sit there and I'll get pissed off enough or afraid enough, and I'll stack those. I'll just mentally stack those on myself. I'm going to sit here, screw pandemic and Newsom for communism in our place, and we can't do this and keeping us down. All I want to do is and I'll build up, and fear will go into the anger, and that'll get me up. And at that point, you just start moving. And and again, it's not just, I don't like self-help. I have a love-hate relationship with the personal development industry because life is not just a meme. Yet, if you go deep into a meme, they can be very insightful. So just to say smile and, just tomorrow's another day, let's get up. This is where you have to have that internal thing, but you have to have that close relationships where your best friend will come up and kick you in the ass to get you up, to move, sometimes you need a hand up to get that momentum going. And once you start moving, you're going to feel the power. And then you're going to start going, okay, I'm in control of me putting one foot in front of the other. I'm in control of me and you start working that out and you start to build up that energy. If you have a deep enough practice, and if it's part of your personal identity of that you are a powerful person that you're ready to take action on, and you're going to set the trajectory for your own life, it'll kick back in. It'll kick back into who you really are. If we're running around Karen in the grocery store and you smile at her and she's still a grumpy thing, smile one more time and pray for her, because some people you can't.
Well, I agree, Bill, and I want to chime in on this, Natalie, because what you brought up was a very important point, because what we know is that there's a lot of people perhaps watching this that are in that state of mind that you're talking about. And what we know from modern science and medicine, particularly in the field of psychoneuroimmunology, is there is, in point of fact, the connection. This has been, spoken by the great mystics, the esoteric traditions of history since time immemorial. People have been saying that there's a connection between your mind, your body, and your heart. But now modern science is catching up to that. So what I want to say, Natalie, is for those people that may be watching this, okay, that are in that state of mind, there is a connection between the physiology and the psychology. So by starting at the physical point, by moving your body, by standing straight, by putting that smile on your face, by jumping up and down, by doing things physically, what we find is there's actually a phenomena where it affects your psychology. So if your psychology is not there, you get yourself to move physically. Okay, and what we also know is what is emotion, Natalie? What is a positive emotion, right? It's energy and motion. If you're still, if you're not moving, if you're on the couch, if you're not doing anything, that's only going to make it worse. It's not going to make it better, right? So at some point, you got to snap. You got to go out. You got to take action, and you got to actually move, okay? And let's go ahead and I know that Axel has a lot. He's been wanting to get into this conversation a few times. I'd love to hear what he has to say.
So I need to take a little bit back when Natalie said, so why do children always get up and now we as adults don't? Because experience over time gives us something where we start becoming afraid of the future, a future that doesn't actually exist, right? And this is based on the pain that we experienced in the past, which doesn't exist either anymore. So if we take a look at the current now, right now, anybody of us here in the room or anybody outside that in this second experience pain or fear? Most likely not. But as soon as you defocus again, I like what Dr. Bill said, exercise, do something, meditate. Those are practices that bring your fundamental framework into a basis that have a better outlook. And one thing for everybody to understand, COVID-19 has nothing to do with you. It's not your failure. If anything happened out of this environment, it's a greater energy that you couldn't control. We don't even need to go into the speculation whether it's actually some politically motivated thing, whether it's for real, which I don't believe it is. Joe doesn't believe it is. But, and you can actually find, if you're really interested, you can find the information. CDC table tells you that nobody died in September in the entire United States. And we are still on the lockdown in here by the glorious Governor Newsom.
And I just want to quickly say thank you. It's been a nice run. Our Facebook page is about to get deleted. We appreciate all of the support that you guys have shown us.
I'm going to fact check him right now, right? And I'll just pretend I'm Mark Zuckerberg and fact check him and take ourselves out of this. But what I want to say is, yes, I agree with Axel, and he knows I agree because he follows me on Facebook and my story. But what I want to address and look at, okay? So I follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he had the best story as to why it is we all feel like crap. Okay, so we're starting to feel like crap because we're thinking bad thoughts. Okay, so when you think a thought, it's a chemical to the brain. The chemical in the brain goes down to the body. The body gets the chemical, turns it into a feeling. So now I'm feeling crappy because I thought of a crappy thought. Now we continue to do this day after day after day after day, right? Look at it. Since March, we've been told to feel crappy. So all of a sudden, the new norm, right, that we were talking about for your body is feel crappy, feel fearful, fear all of this. So now your body starts to adjust all of its alkaline levels, all of its operating procedures to say, this is what we need to operate. Now, you go have a great night's sleep, you wake up, right? And a lot of people out there can't raise their hand, but I'm going to tell you, you wake up and you immediately start feeling like crap. Well, why do you wake up and feel like you just woke up? You just woke up. There ain't nothing happened to you. Like Axel said, is there anything in this moment that's causing you this?
Right,
no.
right.
But what happens is you wake up and then your body says, your body looks and goes, hey, brain, give me some of that stuff we need to be normal. Mm-hmm. And your brain goes, oh, you mean when this person dies or when the economy shuts down, when this, and it goes back and plays the same news reels and all the drama that you've been fed. It plays all these negative thoughts again to get the chemicals to go into your body so that your body can say, this is our new normal and this is our operating sequence. So the answer is you need to wake your butt up in the morning, go put on some music, people. You cannot be depressed. You cannot be depressed and listen to Motown. That's all I'm going to throw out and say to you.
Right. It is so true.
Dr. Bruce Lipton, he made a wonderful example. Number one, what do they give you physically when you get an organ transplant? Stress hormones in order to shut down your immune system, because otherwise the foreign organ will be actually rejected. So now he said, when I tell you, if you get COVID, you're going to die. What does this do to your stress hormones? They go so high up that your immune system shuts down. And guess what? You get a major infection from this stuff, right? Where you normally wouldn't have gotten. He made this so clear. And when he made this clear? In February already. But then he was shut down from Facebook, of course, because they know better.
Well, let me jump in here with two quick things. We haven't heard from the Tribune group in a while. I mean, I've seen the comments, but would you like to chime in just for a second, Ashkan? And then right after you, I'd like to give it to Furley, because I tried earlier to get her in, because she's got a very good story that we'll all be able to relate to. But please, sir, you start us out.
Of course. I honestly thanks for most structuring the night. Is not just about us business people. We have the traditional business people that are watching tonight. All of us entrepreneur or serial entrepreneur gurus, and people who have lost their job.
Yes.
And just in California, is it 10 million? How do we send a message to them? And also, I want to elaborate that all the positive and proactive people are taking action, and some of them are on tonight. And, they are reading books and hiring some of the experts like you guys here. But also, how about the ones that I really said what you brought up was the best question of the night. Of the people who are upset or they are really don't know how to do anything. They lost their job after 10 years. They have kids. They cannot pay their rent. Thanks that they have some, couple of months for that to kick in. But eventually they're going to throw them out. How do we answer that? In two folds. Mm-hmm. Traditional businesses that have really lost their business, they're going to look into entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. They're going to look to people like us, and they want to understand. Or thanks to the doctor, of course, our physiology, our psychology, how our mind works. And for them, like they're first grade, because remember, they always got a paycheck and they were not part of this amazing magic. So for sure, we have thanks to Joe, what he does with Joe Spencer and all the other experts tonight, they really need to hire or get advice from people like us how to make that bridge from traditional business to entrepreneurship.
Right.
At the same time, I want to address people who are not on tonight, who are extremely down. They are not to be reached. They have turned on their phone, and they are in this darkness. How do we reach them tonight? It's a great question. LA Tribune has taken such a lead in educating traditional businesses, regular people who, when they were growing up in high school, they didn't ask them, what are you excited about? What is your mission statement? They just followed their idol. And they came out of college, this is not what I like to do. But then they were getting their paycheck until COVID hit, and the new norm is really the adjustment. Mm-hmm. So for those people, we have a lot of answers tonight, right? So my action or call to action is for all of us, people here, people who are watching, to reach out to the ones that are quiet. They don't come on Facebook. Because let's say myself, I have like a couple thousand people on Facebook. I don't know them. We need to call our family, our friends, our cousins, people who did with business before, and just call them. How are you, George?
Yes.
How are you coping? By direct reaching out to the people who, again, you're not going to be on social media. Because when you do that, that would be the other part of tonight. Not just people watching us and they're going to go from traditional to entrepreneurship, or from entrepreneurship to how do I make it. But really, the best thing you asked tonight, I think, Natalie, was how about the ones who are really depressed and they don't know how to get. By the way, people who are depressed and they are in such a zone, they don't want help. They don't know how to get help. They don't know how to reach out. They're completely in a state of limbo. So how do we do that? Us positive ones with a mindset, us with the biggest programs. Why don't we tonight take action to reach out to 5 people personal, cousins, brothers, sisters, partners, ex-partners, and say, listen, I know you have lost your business. I know a friend of mine that just, because of what you brought up, I know just lost her restaurant. Did I call her? No, I will. How are you coping? She's not an entrepreneur. She doesn't get on these shows. Just by my personal reach, maybe I could transfer some of this knowledge to them. Now back to you.
Awesome.
You know, you
Awesome,
made a
awesome.
really, really good point when you said reach out, and I kind of mentioned that earlier about building the relationships and really diving into those relationships. You're dead on, and I think one of the things that we take advantage of, or we take for granted, as I will, is we expect people to be on their phone. We expect them to be at a text message. We expect them to be on social media or on Zoom or video conference. But how often do we stop and just send a card and just say, hey, you know, anything I can do to help, you know, or I hope everything is well, whatever positive vibe you want to share it.
Absolutely. Like that lady that Natalie was talking about, she was at the checkout, but how about the ones are at home? Some of the elders, I saw and this is a touchy subject to me, being at home, right? My mom and etc. So I know that there was a gentleman in Israel, 117 years old, that you guys can go on Google tonight. He lost his wife, I guess, kind of 20 years ago. And every morning he would get up, go to the church, temple, and that was his life. When they stopped and they did his social whatever, guess what? Elderly stay home. For the fact, he didn't got COVID. He passed a couple of days ago because of this loneliness. And I know that for a fact, over 50% of the people watching today, and the people that are not watching, don't look at us so positive. They get out, they take the risk. There are lots of people, especially elderly, that their children cannot meet them anymore, or the grandchildren. They are so lonely. They are desperate for that reaching out. And honestly, thank you for this platform from Mo and Joe Ingram and Natalie and all the other leaders. What we are doing tonight is not just another platform. It's a way, how do we educate? How do we reach out? How do we use our power for the ones that are not here? And I couldn't be happier to be here tonight. Myself, you have my word. I will pick 5 people tomorrow that I know they're not on my WhatsApp and Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to ask him, how are you?
Yes. And that is important. And it's actually something that I've done a couple months ago as well. I'm very big on writing postcards. But in that instance, I think you just gave us the perfect segue back to Furley. And as I said, I try to push her into the limelight a little bit early. I didn't get the feeling earlier that she was quite ready, but she said she's ready because she has a story, not just for COVID, but a real story of what she went through and how she dug herself out of the hole. So I don't know, just get ready to hear the real.
Thank you so very much. Actually, when Mo invited me to be part of this, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I saw you, it's like, oh my goodness, Dr. Forrest. And I said, like, the topic is all about turning your pain into this incredible opportunity to impact positive changes in people's lives. I was like, okay, this is perfectly aligned with exactly what I'm all about. COVID for me is like, when COVID came into my life, I said to myself, oh, I've been through so much worse. I got this. That was exactly how I approach it. Because, about 18 years ago, I was a respiratory therapist. And I was exposed to an occupational hazard that left me with a 40% permanent lung damage and severely disabled for over 10 years. I would literally take 2 steps and I would turn blue. I need not understand what was going on with me. 3 doctors, 3 pulmonologists here in New Jersey. I had to fire because nobody knew how to treat me. And then I found a doctor in Columbia Presbyterian in New York who actually I spoke with. I said, I don't understand. One doctor said that he said that, oh, you knew too much. I said, what's the problem with knowing too much? I'm a clinician. I could articulate my symptoms. You should be able to help me better. One just wanted to give me Xanax. One wanted to just give me to send me to an academic institution. Nobody knew what was going on with me until I saw that doctor, and he said, "Yeah, you have a problem like most people do. You have your airways have gotten hyperreactive that no amount of inhaler or medication can save you once it's triggered." Basically, I was told I could die at any time. What do you do with that? Of course, the only thing I could remember doing is that I remembered, and I thought to myself, I had to make this day, every day, as though it is my last. I had to treat each day like that. And then, of course, I also went through a very, very nasty divorce. To this day, I actually have a restraining order against my ex-husband. And then when I prayed for another chance at love and another chance at life, okay, I found my love, right? And of course, I got married. I was very happy. Tragically, I lost my spouse to pancreatic cancer within 8 months of our wedding day, and she died on her 48th birthday. While she was dying, I got laid off from my pharmaceutical sales job. I got flat broke. I lost my home. Almost every single one, every single thing was just thrown right at me. And how much can a girl take? But at that moment, at the lowest, deepest dark of my life, I said to myself, I could whine, I could cry, I could get angry, but none of those will change my circumstances. I have the power to change my destiny. I will make my message. I refuse to be identified with my adversities. No, hell no. And so basically, I had to muster the courage and resilience from within my soul, because I said, I know that there's got to be a reason why I'm still alive. And that led me, basically, my faith has led me to where I am able to, actually, I ended up writing 3 books all about resilient living. And I
Mhm.
actually began to speak all over the world. I wrote songs. I'm ready to launch my one woman show, Make Your Mess Your Message, where I talk about the different adversities I've been through in life, teach people how to overcome their own, and sing all original songs I wrote lyrics to. Every single chance I get, I will make it an opportunity to empower others. That's the only way I could heal. And I knew that choosing to be resilient is going to be the solution to be able to live a meaningful and joyful life despite what I've been through. So,
Thank you for that, Furley. Thank you for
Yes.
that. And I want to highlight something, and that's that when someone stands up and when someone has the courage to speak their truth, it inspires other people to also speak their truth. I want to highlight, Furley, while you were speaking your truth, we had someone share their testimonial. I want to take a moment to highlight Michelle, who left this powerful comment. And this is the impact that we can make as leaders when we step up and when we speak our truth and share with the world that it's okay to speak our mind, because this is the inspiration and this is the impact that we can make. So thank you so much for that, Furley, and thank you, Michelle, and thank you to all those people that are commenting on Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. If you're watching this after the fact on Amazon Fire Stick TV, you can contact Furley. You can contact these leaders who've generously made themselves so accessible. And with that being said, I want to thank Michelle and I want to thank Furley. We're bringing, as we head into the last few minutes of this powerful show, we want to bring one of our behind the scenes producers, Anicia Sawyer, who's been working hard and diligently on this program behind the scenes. And she had a lot that she wanted to chime in on. So she'll be joining us as one of the panelists in the last 15, 20 minutes of this show as we slowly wrap it up. But I did notice that there was quite a lot on your mind, Dr. Forrest, if you want to go ahead and segue. I mean, I know that's a tough act to follow. That was really powerful, Furley. Thank you for that.
Well, I think there's a very, very easy segue, because it's the one question that I have goes back to what I asked earlier and what this beautiful call to action from Ash was, right? Reach out. So when you were in that darkness, even though you were resilient, did you have people who reached out to you, who just said, how you doing? Or do you want to sleep over here right now? I mean, those are the stories I'm hearing right now. I talked to somebody in Southern Virginia earlier, and she said, my friend lost their house. I had to sell mine. So we all moved in with another friend for like 3 months. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I want you all in my house, but I mean, on the other hand, it is what you do, right? It is in the moment of need, you open your door. So did you have that experience as well? Because we're talking about the power of community as well.
Oh, definitely. Oh, of course. Like, I would not be in where I am at right now if not for my family and friends who reached out. And of course, just like when everybody here is saying, surround yourself with positive people. Find people who will lift your wings, and when you've forgotten how to fly. So,
Mhm.
and I feel very blessed.
Yes.
Can
Awesome.
I jump in for a second?
Can you read Michelle's message?
Absolutely, I will.
Yeah.
And while I do that, go ahead, Joe. I know you wanted to chime in.
Yeah, so here's the thing. As you can tell, I believe humor is going to solve a lot of the drama that we go through, right? You guys can go on any platform and watch stand up, watch some funny movie that makes you laugh, and watch how all of a sudden the vibration changes in you. But when I look at what we go through and all the stuff that's out there, I want everybody to shift their mindset. And so if you look at what your mindset is, we all will watch a movie and watch how the main character gets kicked to the ground, right? Ends up bloody beaten on the ground and comes back. And all of a sudden it's a great comeback story. So my question to everybody who's feeling the pain, what if this is the downtime for you to make your comeback for the end of the movie, right? And if we shift it all and go, hey, I'm just going through the bad spot, which means I'm going to come back on the other side, bigger, brighter, and badder, that's going to come out, and I'm going to go fight in the ring, and I'm going to be Rocky today, right? And come back out at that point, right? So again, I just look at it and say, everybody goes through that. So if you're in the hole right now, then I literally understand that hole that you're in is temporary.
So you're talking the hero's journey. You're really talking the
Of
hero's
course.
journey. And in the end, you're talking Star Trek, and Star Wars and all of that.
I'll go Star Wars.
Since
Okay,
Star
I'll go Star
Trek
Wars,
was
but I'm
my
not just
time.
Star
Hey,
Trek.
Joe,
Yeah.
Joe, you know how I feel about Captain Kirk and William Shatner? Please don't insult
Yes,
Star
I know.
Trek. Okay. With that being said,
Mo thinks he's his father, but yes.
I
Okay,
appreciate that.
Let's go to Anicia, who doesn't know Star Trek probably, but she may remember Star Wars.
Dark Side for Life, Star Wars. Oh,
No, I don't know either one. It's not my field now.
So, okay, but Joe brought up something really powerful, and that was the comeback. And I want us all to talk about the art of the comeback, redemption, because really, as we finish the final quarter of this year and as we head to 2021, in many ways, everyone is making a comeback, so to say. So I want everyone here, Anicia, Dr. Bill, everyone, to touch on the art of the comeback and what does that mean for them. And then as we wrap up this program, I want everyone to chime in on what redemption means for them, what the art of the comeback means for them. I'd like to start with Carlton, and then we'll go to Anicia. Carlton, the floor is yours.
Awesome. I was anxious to speak, so I'm glad that you threw the mic my way. The comeback, for me, I'm always looking from an entrepreneurial perspective. So I want to make sure that they are focused on the next steps, the next action steps to get them out of the position they're in. And normally, as funny as it sounds, it goes right back to the psychology of the mind. Is you have to go back to the main core of your business. Why did you beginning it in the first place? What was the purpose of your business? What problem did you think you were going to solve? What is the solution to that problem? Do you have the answers to that? And go back to the elements of your business, because sometimes we get caught in the showmanship of our business because we get stuck in the marketing side or promoting and branding ourselves side, when we should be focused on how new verticals, mind shifting, right? You can't do those things if you're focused on, well, I can't go to the networking event and wear my newest suit and drive my new car and look all fancy, so now what do you do? So the mindset, again, it goes back to the mindset that from an entrepreneurial perspective, this is what I leave entrepreneurs with for the evening. When you're building your business, go back to the core of the business. Understand the pillars of your business. So if your business is suffering, closed, out of laying people off at your office, and you can't open the doors back up tomorrow, the thing you should go back to in your business is, what steps did I miss? Where did I make a mistake? I made a mistake because the only reason my doors are closed and Starbucks isn't is because I missed something. Because I should be no different than Starbucks, but Starbucks did something right, and I didn't do something right. What do they know that I don't know? What building blocks did I miss? Who's on my team? It goes back to everything that was said on this conversation, in this panel. Who's on my team? Who's around me? Who's supporting me? Who's in my relationships? Who's in my network? Who am I talking to? And these individuals can provide insight for you to take the next step. And that's what the comeback looks like. The comeback looks like you get knocked down by yourself, but you get 5 other people.
Thank you for that, Carlton. Incredible words. We appreciate that. And I'd like Anicia to talk now for a little bit about, first of all, the mission of the Los Angeles Tribune, because many people know that the Los Angeles Tribune is not only a media and news agency, but we also do a lot of work in the leadership space, which makes us different than a lot of other media companies out there. So, Anicia, I want you to just talk a little bit about your personal experience working behind the scenes, what you feel the LA Tribune stands for, how you felt our summit went a few weeks ago, and also, what does redemption mean for you? Anicia, the floor is yours.
Wow, you just asked me a lot all at once. I don't even know where to start. Well, first, working behind the scenes with the Tribune, I absolutely love it, just because you're actually you have a community, very similar to what everyone else here on this panel has said. It's very important to be surrounded around people that actually care, people who are willing to listen, and people that make sure that everyone is heard. And I feel that's exactly what you get with the Los Angeles Tribune. Being a part of the team, and even the message that we put out to others, like making sure that our readers are being heard as well. So I think that's, yeah, being with the Tribune, that's absolutely amazing. And as far as our summit, it was great as well. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and I don't think anyone really accounts for everything that's happening in the background, you know, but we have an amazing team of people that were able to pull that all together. Like Natalie, of course, we have to mention. Joe, that's on this panel as well. Axel even came in and helped, Dr. Bill, but so many people just came together and it just really showed us what a community is like. So that it kind of all goes into what the mission of Los Angeles Tribune is, just having a strong community.
Thank you. Thank you, Anicia. And what does the word redemption mean to you? When you think of that word redemption, what comes to your mind? Or maybe, you know, the art of the comeback. What does that really mean to you when you think about that, Anicia?
For me, that just simply means rearranging your thoughts. Very similar to what you all have already said, you know, changing your thought process, because everything starts with the way you're thinking. And if you can identify where in your thoughts you're going wrong, I think that is where you can then actually have that redemption, have that comeback. Like once you can reevaluate, okay, I need to maybe stop focusing so much on the negative and more on the positive aspects of what's happening. And rather than being a victim of your circumstances or a victim of whatever is happening, you change your thoughts, and that's how you're able to have that comeback. And that's my idea of it. But,
Thank you for that, Anicia. Beautifully said. Thank you for generously sharing your perspective with others that are watching this. I'd like to now go to Dr. Bill. What does the art of the comeback mean to you?
The art of the comeback is you kind of being tested. You know, the Stoics say that no man, and I suppose he meant woman as well, Marcus Aurelius, never feels really good about themselves until they're tested, because it's at that time they get to prove themselves. Now, this is a positive group, and we have a better mindset than most. But when you're down and out, and when you're feeling not good, and you're just not having the life that you want, when you go deep in yourself, that's when you can come out and you get to truly test who you are and test your identity. When Joe was talking about what if this is the low time that we're supposed to create that awesome story that, you know, the hero's journey that Natalie's said, which is one of my favorite metaphors. But if you just came up in your downtime and you went back up to, I'm okay, doesn't make life very exciting. But until you break through that, and that's also redemptive, you're redeeming yourself and just kind of solidifying your own identity.
Thank you for that, Bill. And since you mentioned his name, let's go to Joe Ingram. What does the art of the comeback mean to you?
Like Beetlejuice, you mentioned him 3 times.
Right. You say Beetlejuice, and I'm here. Okay. So to me, what is the art of the comeback? The first thing has to be that you recognize you're in a spot to come back from. Right. And I will tell you, and this is something I put out to people all the time. The answer that you need to understand is that so far in your life, every person on this panel, we've all been through stuff, right? Everybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, everybody has been through stuff that we didn't think we were going to come out on the other side. We have a 100% success rate at going through the crap that life throws at us. Why would you expect to bet against yourself now? Right? If it would make no sense for you to bet against somebody with 100% perfect track record. You've made it through on everything else that came through, right? Like, I'm not betting against Ferdy. That's all, right? She's going to come back and kick everybody's butt with what she has going on. The answer is that I'm telling you, once you realize you're down, then you can look for the opportunity to get up. But not realizing where you're at is the biggest problem most people have. I feel down, I feel sad, but I'm not recognizing this is my true situation. So the art of the comeback is figure out where you're at, then you can start looking for that. Right?
Thank you for that, Joe. Axel Tillman, on the art of the comeback.
Yes. So when I look back at life and look back at history, then we always have understood in a philosophy that if we are really down in the bottom, there's only one way to go. It's up. Look at our home country, Natalie, Germany. After World War II, everything was destroyed. Everything was destroyed. And the people started out again, right? And created the biggest economic surprise or miracle, as they called it, because there was an opportunity. So we can be actually, into one degree, thankful of where we went into, because we can only go to new heights. You can't go much lower than where we are today. So that's the really good news for everybody. We can go up. You go in the stock market, you buy low, you don't buy high to sell low, you buy low to sell high. And this is where we have to come from emotionally. We have to put us into this position and say, we are climbing out, we will make it great again.
Incredible. Thank you for that, Axel. Ashkan, you've been, I can tell by your body language that you're really paying close attention to this conversation, as everyone is. I feel like you have a lot you want to contribute. And I just want to thank you, by the way, Ashkan. I don't know if the people watching this know what a busy man you are. I don't think the people watching this know how honored and humbled we are that you spend a few minutes of your day to share your wisdom. Because you're so casual with your demeanor that most people have no idea the impact that you make on a global scale. So thank you, Ashkan. But we really want to hear.
There's so much tonight from everyone: Natalie, Joe, you, Axel, even though my brother, mentor, of course, Felipe, Carlton. I want to listen. I had you on hello, not Jerry Maguire. I'm going to call you Doctor, and Anesia for sure. I believe the art of comeback, it really has to do with what we already shared, the new mindset, new consciousness. When we have that, if we are not trying to salvage or try to save our business, because if some people are doing that, we want to really give them the kudos, give them they have a chance to turn it around. Why not, right? Why start from the beginning? We give them all the power, so maybe they can turn that around for those people. But for the ones that are really ready for that pivot, as you guys said, for that new association, new relationship that was already mentioned, we have to learn how to let go. Like, we have to absolutely understand what does that mean. Letting go means grabbing a cup and letting it go completely. Right? When we do that, right? There was some then we surrender. Then we have to learn how to surrender. Because then right? And then the art of forgiveness, right? You have to forgive your ex-partner and the person who didn't help you and your wife and yourself. When you do that, and you do those couple of things, something happens. So the art of comeback really is a reset. It's a new beginning. It's a new birth, right? So we go back to when we were teenagers, when we were just in school, our first job, that you always have that amazing, usually when you start at the same 18, 19, it works, right? We do that. And what you have to bring simplicity, clarity into your new thing, the art of comeback. And what you have at the end of the day is your faith. You have to believe in something, whether it's God or whatever you believe in. You have to at that moment, because remember, you let go, you surrender, you forgave, and now you're ready for that shift, that pivot with a new relationship, new mindset. But if you don't have faith in whatever is could be Moses, Jesus, God, LA Tribune, that's where the magic starts.
I want to say I like how you put us in that mix. I support that 100%. I love that. I agree.
Pain, how we started tonight. How do we take that pain? Because it's really a pain. Pain is not pain. It is really given to you as a challenge, right? And you take that pain, and it doesn't turn into a solution. It takes it to a new pleasure, because now you know, oh my God, because that happened, that's the new me. What Felipe shared with us. I will finish with sharing Michelle's. Michelle said, you never know when a call could save someone's life. 15 years ago, I was in a dark space, like some of us, and a friend called me while I was contemplating taking a bottle of pills. That simply kept me alive. And that's really, she was able to take her pain to transfer it to a joy, and to be probably one of the highlights of tonight, because she's been sharing every other minute something positive. That pain now is she's becoming a beacon to look. We are excited here tonight. I see, oh my God, I see Carlton, I see Doctor, I go crazy. But for the ones that need that, that's a message. And more, again, my hat's off to you. I am never busy. This is really what I signed up for. Having, again, Axel, Natalie, my new friends here tonight, myself, from Anesia, what she shared, I took notes. I take notes. I don't write everything, but you take a nugget away from everybody, your association, your relationship, your mindset, philosophy from the doctor, Anesia, what she said, Axel, right? I learned something from my mentor today, Natalie and Joe, what ourselves, we're going to go home to our wives, our kids first, our religion and our community second, and then others, and we can be in better of service.
Incredible. And we want to thank Michelle Farrell for really generously sharing that personal testimonial, because that was really the highlight of this program today. And that really was the pivotal moment of this show, when we saw the impact that coming together as leaders can make. And we want to thank Furley as well for inspiring that with your story, for being the fire that lit that array of truth. Speaking of Furley, let's go ahead and have you continue to speak your truth, because Furley, you have a magical tongue that just speaks truth and inspires people to feel what they call in the Christian tradition the Holy Spirit, what they call in other traditions different things, but you have that gift inside of you, Furley, that you generously share with others. So my question for you is, what is the art of comeback to you? I know that for Ashkan, it was letting go of fear, trumping your fears, putting those things aside. But what is the art of comeback to you, Furley?
The art of comeback for me is reframing our mindset to bounce back stronger, wiser, sexier, and able to create an impactful legacy.
Incredible. Incredible. And of course, people in the comments are thanking Michelle. Michelle's been the superstar of the show. I mean, she has not been on the panel, but I'd like to extend an invitation to her to join us next week. For those of you that may not know, due to popular demand, due to the work of Anicia Sawyer, Joe Ingram, Dr. Natalie Forrest, after the Leadership Summit, we at the Los Angeles Tribune have been getting requests from people all over the world for more content because they said, we can't wait a whole year. You know, we did the annual Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Summit, and they said, we cannot wait a whole year for more Carlton, more Axel, more Bill. We can't do it. So you ask and we deliver. That's why every week we will be joining you live. And consequently, as we wrap up, I do want to let Natalie Forrest chime in, Dr. Forrest, on what does the art of the comeback mean to you?
Oh, you had to put me at the end. All right. So here I go. Joe, don't freak. I don't believe in the art of comeback. I don't believe in the art of redemption. Because to me, there is no such thing, since I believe we're all perfect. And I'm saying that since we're all perfect, we're consistently on our path and we're just learning certain things. So we never need to come back in that sense. I love what Ash said about the surrender and the forgiveness. All of it is key to me, but it's really, you need that old Egyptian saying of know thyself. When you know thyself and you love thyself, then you are at peace. And then whatever happens around you happens, but you don't have to come back from anything. You just look at it and you go, okay, this is happening. Where's my peace? Where's my happiness? And it's something that I went through myself. So I'm not just, espousing theology or whatever, but it is something that you need to experience, and finding that peace within you, I believe, is the only comeback or redemption that we can even look for. If we've lost ourselves, then we need to come back to that. Everything else is related to that. So just had to throw that curveball in there as we're closing it out.
So did everybody else hear Natalie Forrest call me perfect, or was it just me?
No, I do call you perfect, honey.
Okay. I
You
just
are
want to make
perfect.
sure we all heard that and that it was documented.
Yes,
Okay, good. Yeah.
it is.
Incredible. Okay, guys, as we wrap this incredible program up, we have one final segment of the program. Of course, a few weeks ago, if you were one of the tens of thousands of people that watched the Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Summit, you know that we had an incredible live performance by a band. And this band, called the Goldilocks Band, the lead singer of the band actually hosted the two-day event, and they had a single that got nominated this year for a Dove Award called All to You. And this single is actually about suicide prevention. And so, given the direction that this conversation went, we think it's fitting to finish the show with this performance that was live a few weeks ago. But before we get into that, I want to bring Anicia back in on this and just talk a little bit about what Goldilocks means to you, the band, and the person Goldilocks. Anicia, you've worked with her here at the LA Tribune. How do you feel about the performance, and just how do you feel about the talented Goldilocks? Miss Anicia, the floor is yours, and then we'll go to the live, the previously recorded live airing of the program to close out the show. Anicia.
Well, first of all, her talent that's not even a big enough word to describe her. She's absolutely phenomenal. Goldilocks, outside of just her music, she has a great personality. She's bold. You describe the perfect person, that's her. What Natalie just said, that's Goldilocks for sure. And her performance, even just through a Zoom screen or a StreamYard, my bad, you could feel her energy, you could feel her power, you could feel all of the emotions that you would experience as if you were there in person. And that says a lot about who Goldilocks really is.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Anicia. And with that being said, we appreciate you tuning in this week to the Los Angeles Tribune Live, and continue to tune in. With that being said, let's go now and close this with Goldilocks' performance. We'd like to thank you for watching, and we'd like to thank all the experts for generously sharing their time.
Are we going? Is this running? Welcome, everybody, to the 2020 Los Angeles Tribune. Are you done? Are you done with your hair? You better look good for all the people at the Los Angeles Tribune. 2020 Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Summit. We're the Goldilocks Band, and we're just happy to be here. We're going to be performing. Which one are you going to do first? Let's do All to You first. You want to do that one? So this was nominated for First Ballot Dove Award. Super honored. There's a really great music video that goes with it. Just look for All to You, Goldilocks Band, Goldie with a Y on YouTube. We'd really appreciate a comment. Just, saw this at the Los Angeles Tribune Leadership Summit. You could also put just hashtag just stay. The video and the song is in support of suicide prevention. So we want you to get what you personally get out of this, and we're going to perform this song for you right now. Unplugged, acoustic, up close and personal. Oh, this is Rod Saylor, my best friend, on normally the drums, today on the, what would you say, just the bongos and the...
Bongos and the cajon.
Okay, and you are, who are you?
Introduction.
This is Serge Strobin on guitar. You ready?
Is just old wood, oh, arms that were wide open, tall and strong and good, but you took it all away, all away. You ate the fruit and cut the branches and didn't have to pay a sacrifice worth giving, even when they didn't see, given to you now and always, unconditionally. 'Cause I gave it all to you, to you. You got the best I could give. I gave it all so you could live. Gave it to you, gave it to, all to you, gave it all to you, gave it all to you. Nice job, you guys. Thanks, everybody.